Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Coming up is the 19th Caribbean Internet Governance Forum and the 2nd Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum, and it will all take place between the 22nd and the 24th of August 2023. We have a few people to talk to us all about what that means and what will be happening. Deputy Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecommunications Unit, Nigel Cassimire, Keeghan Patrick, co-founder of and co-CEO of Orbtronics, and Albert Daniels, who is Senior Manager and Stakeholder of Stakeholder Engagement with the Caribbean Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you. Good morning to all the viewers.
All right, well, quite a mouthful. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Mr. Deputy Secretary General of the Caribbean Telecoms Union. Talk to me a little bit about what the Caribbean Telecoms Union does and where you engage with, or where the intersect comes with this upcoming governance forum.
Good morning. Thank you very much. The Caribbean Telecommunications Union, or CTU as we shorthandedly call it, is the CARICOM specialized institution that deals with information and communication technologies. It was founded in 1989 as the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, its current name, and its focus back then was basically on telecommunications policy, developing and harmonizing telecommunications policy among the CARICOM countries. As technology has changed over the decades, however, in the early 2000s, we expanded our remit beyond just pure telecommunications to encompass ICT, information and communications technology, which includes the internet, which is today's network of networks on which all telecommunications either runs or is trending towards. We are talking right now on an application that's running over the internet. So the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum, the CIGF, is a forum that the CTU initiated with the CARICOM Secretariat way back in 2005 to specifically address the challenges that the internet was presenting to governments and to regulators and so on in the space. All right. Appreciate that the internet has developed differently from the old telephone network. The old telephone network has always been a country-based, government-controlled sort of entity, and to make it international and functional, the governments basically handle things like the technical standards and policies and operational type issues associated with the old telephone network through the International Telecommunication Union, the ITU. However, the internet came from an academic and commercial background and has infused itself and basically kind of taken over commerce and governance and all sorts of aspects of life. So when it started to get that great international influence, the governments of the day created a forum. Initially it was called the World Summit on the Information Society back in 2005. And in order for the Caribbean to participate in that summit in an informed basis, that we started the inaugural Caribbean Internet Governance Forum, and we've done it every year since then. We're actually the oldest Internet Governance Forum in the world, and there are Internet Governance Fora now existing in multiple countries, regions, and globally through the UN. It's a whole ecosystem now. So I hope that gives a sense of some of the background. And basically what we do is we focus on the appropriate policies, that technical, operational, social, and so on, all the aspects that the internet touches, and the target audience is what I want to say. The
I
target
know.
audience basically. Yes.
Yeah, I know
Includes.
it's kind of challenging to summarize all of it
Yes.
because of, as you mentioned, how many areas it touches. I know that initially, as you mentioned, when people thought of the internet, they thought only of communications and anything related to communications. These days, everything from trade and investment, everything is really centered online. And I know that you will have a great deal of things to cover, even as the internet and everything else that goes with information and communications technology kind of expand across the world. These days, the eyes of the world are certainly on things like AI and things of that nature. So for you, Mr. Daniels, talk to us about the ICANN, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, and let's move into this particular forum and how it's going to address all of what is happening in ICT, not only here in the Caribbean region, but certainly in the world.
Well, when you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that the internet is now touching everything that we do, whether it is operating our businesses on a day-to-day basis and doing online transactions or promoting our businesses through social media or on a website, whether it is accessing government services or whether it is simply uh, communicating with our family and friends. So there is no doubt in anyone's mind that the internet is core and critical to everything that we do these days. And to have a stable, secure, and open internet, it takes several global organizations to work together and collaborate. ICANN is one of these organizations. The acronym ICANN stands for the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. The acronym has two ends, one for names and one for numbers. Every device on the internet must have a unique identifier, which is one of those internet protocol numbers, 192, 168, and so on. And there are also domain names, which are used in email addresses and websites. And ICANN at a top level coordinates and manages all of those resources. And it does it based on a collaboration with the global multi-stakeholder community. So Nigel mentioned the term ecosystem, and ICANN is not just a single organization, but rather a part of a tripartite ecosystem where the most important part is actually the stakeholders, the global stakeholders, representatives of governments, business, the technical community, end users, and so on, who actually get together and identify issues of governance with regard to the internet. And then you have a higher level body, which is the ICANN Board of Directors, which is also comprised of persons from various backgrounds from the multi-stakeholder community. And then finally, you have the ICANN org, which is the organization that facilitates the meetings of the multi-stakeholder community and also facilitates policy development and in the end executes policy which has been decided upon by the board. So ICANN works with several organizations and partners like the Caribbean Telecommunications Union when it comes to mobilizing stakeholders to get the kinds of policies that determine the type of internet that we would have on a day-to-day basis. So we're very happy to be collaborating with the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. As we know, the CTU has the longest running IGF, and the whole idea is to mobilize stakeholders so that they can actually come together, have discussions, and arrive at consensus on issues which will determine the type of internet that we use every day.
And I know that the deputy SG kind of took us back to 2005 briefly when CARICOM saw that there was a need for the Caribbean really to collaborate so that we could come up with, an umbrella type of governance for the internet generally that really governed how we approached it as a region. And now they've taken an even further step to include youth so that we can fill the gaps that are left by not having young people involved. So here you are having a second iteration of this particular forum, which involves young people being able to really represent and participate at the regional level on initiatives and in fora that inform how we will govern the internet and various other internet-based systems going forward. And I would imagine this is where you come in, Mr. Keeghan Patrick, who is co-founder and co-CEO of Orbtronics. So talk to us a little bit about that and about your involvement, what you're looking forward to most with the forum that's coming up.
Okay, so the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum precedes the Caribbean Internet Governance Forum. And as you said, it's designed by youth, for youth, and we're trying to bridge that gap in youth representation and participation in the regional internet governance initiatives and fora. We're really trying to help give youth a voice in what is going on in internet policy, what is going on in the world right now that affects them. As we know, we are big participators of the internet. The youth maybe participates in over 60% of the internet activities that go on, and we are trying to give young persons a voice in terms of being able to affect what is affecting their daily lives on a day-to-day basis, whether it be on social media, or they're trying to run small businesses, or they're trying to communicate with their friends in various means. One thing that we're trying to focus on touching on in the Caribbean Youth Intergovernance Forum is internet governance, digital inclusion, artificial intelligence, and we're having various speakers from different backgrounds coming to speak and address the youth on these different topics, and also to give more information to the youth so that they know what's going on, they know how to participate, and they know how to become part of this internet governance forum that we're forming for the youth and is being designed by young people like myself and others. And we really want to try to increase participation and get as many people involved as possible.
All right. Well, that truly is a wonderful way for us to segue back to the Deputy Secretary General to talk about the people whom you're targeting to be a part of the forum. I would imagine, in addition to IT professionals and people who are working generally in information and communications technology, because technology now is touching us in such a way that just even average people are so impacted by it that you would want to attract a wide cross-section of people to be a part of this forum. So talk to us a little bit about who you want to be a part of this forum and how they can participate.
Thank you. Internet governance is what we call a multi-stakeholder space. And essentially, if you look at the name target audience for this CIGF, Caribbean Internet Governance Forum, and the Youth IGF as well, includes academia, civil society, government policymakers. Government is a strong stakeholder. Internet end users, internet service providers, telecommunications operators. There are international organizations. Albert is represented in ICANN here, and ICT regulators, just to name a few. The thing about internet governance is that there's a space for everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean individuals and companies, associations, and so on. Basically, any users of the internet have an opportunity, typically in any internet governance forum, to let their voices be heard, let their opinions be heard, contribute to the development of the appropriate policies. And if you think, for example, just an example, the example of social media. Everyone uses social media, and everyone realizes that there are challenges with the use of social media. People need to be educated and so on. So there need to be appropriate policies around, say, maybe the regulation or safeguards associated with social media. And that's just one example of the things that we'll be addressing in the CIGF. If I were to just mention, say, our objectives, what we're looking to do is build the capacity in the Caribbean so that we can influence the growth, development, evolution of the internet globally. right? And we do that by doing some capacity building, which is part of the program. We do that by doing liaisons with multiple IGFs, both within the Caribbean and outside, with the international organizations like ICANN, like the Internet Society, like the numbering organizations in the Caribbean called the American Registry of Internet Numbers and the Latin American and Caribbean Internet Addresses Registry, and even the United Nations Internet Governance Forum. All of these are going to be participating and contributing to the program of our CIGF. One key thing I would like to mention, and it is kind of unique in the Caribbean, is that through our CIGF, we have developed a document we call the Caribbean Internet Governance Policy Framework. And one key objective of this year's forum is actually to update that, because it's a document that we update periodically as the internet evolves, and we want to issue a new edition of it, and hopefully by the 24th of August, we would have had agreement on the content. All the information is available, all the information on the CIGF and how to participate. Anyone can participate, and it's going to be in person in Port of Spain as well as online on the net. You can go to the CTU website, ctu.int, and we're kindly showing our banner. And the overall theme is Evolving Caribbean Internet Governance Priorities for Sustainable Development. We realize that as the internet evolves, we need to evolve the priorities as well. Thanks.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Daniels, as Senior Manager with Stakeholder Engagement with ICANN, I would imagine there are some very specific areas that you would have engaged with the various stakeholders on, and personally, as a professional in the area, that you would love to see be a part of the forum, or you would be most interested in. So what are some of those areas that you're looking forward to most in being a part of this Caribbean Internet Governance Forum that's coming up?
Well, the most important issue for me, interestingly, is this word participation. ICANN is a global not-for-profit organization, and as I mentioned earlier, is part of the ICANN ecosystem, where decisions are made about what type of internet we will have and policies are developed. And the thing about it is, these policies are driven by those who participate and those who attend. So if the Caribbean is absent from those discussions, the end result will be a situation where policies are developed which could possibly adversely impact us in this part of the world. I'll give you an example. Are you all familiar with domain names that end in .com, .org, .edu, .net, and so on? One important specific policy decision that was taken within the ICANN ecosystem by the community is that there was a need for more innovation, a need for more choice, a need for more competition. And after a policy development process, the end result was that there are now 1,200 new top-level domain names that have been added to the internet in addition to .com, .org, and so on. So you now have .media, for example, .education, .hospitals, .music, .yoga, and so on. And this was not a decision taken by ICANN staff, but it was a decision taken by the ICANN multi-stakeholder community, including end users, business people, governments, technical community, security community, and so on. So if the Caribbean was not a participant in that discussion, then what you would find is that aspects of this new program which impact the Caribbean would not have been considered. So the important issue for me is that our Caribbean stakeholders participate. Usually when we have these kinds of meetings, they may be face-to-face. During COVID, they were all remote, but now we have hybrid meetings where there's a mixture of face-to-face participation and also remote participation. ICANN itself has 3 global meetings per year. Last March, we had our meeting in Cancun. Usually there are about 1,500 to 2,500 persons from all over the world at these meetings. We just came from a meeting in Washington, D.C. in June, and we are going to Hamburg, Germany from the 21st to the 26th of October. And then from the 2nd to the 7th of March 2024, we are coming back to the Caribbean, to Latin America and the Caribbean, and we will be in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So the point I'm making here is that ICANN also makes efforts to have individuals from across the globe participate through programs like our fellowship program, which is competitive, but where we pay for the airfare and accommodation and a small stipend so that persons who otherwise would not be able to participate can actually be a part of these important meetings and contribute to policy development. I must mention that there are only 3 days left to register and to apply for a fellowship for the ICANN 79 meeting in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And if any one of your viewers is interested in applying, they simply go to the ICANN website, icann.org, and type in the word fellowship, and all of the information on how they can apply for a fellowship to participate in an ICANN meeting will be displayed there. So for me, the most important thing is participation. If you can't attend in person, come online and contribute to the decision making with regard to the kind of internet that we use every day.
All right, this of course is facilitated by exactly what we're talking about, information and communications technology. When the world was in turmoil with the pandemic and all that was happening, we had to revert to the internet to be able to communicate, to work, to continue life in some state of normalcy that we knew. I know for you, Mr. Patrick, you are going to bring the youth voice to this forum, and most certainly to the Caribbean arm, which now is in its second year. So I wish all of you the very best in what you're offering, and I certainly hope that we can have you back, maybe not together, but separately, to talk about the various outcomes and what will be happening throughout our region in the coming weeks and months, and certainly the coming years. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming in and sharing with us. And we most certainly want to encourage all of the viewers here in Barbados, across the diaspora, wherever you are, to go onto those websites and make sure that you check them out. Certainly for the forum, as I said, it's open to all of us as end users, as various stakeholders in different ways, business leaders, third sector, civil society, you name it. So make sure that you at least participate in this upcoming Caribbean Internet Governance Forum and the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum coming up the 22nd to 24th of August. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, quite a mouthful, lots to take in, but we certainly use the internet every single day. So the onus really is on us to make sure that we're on top of what's happening. And this is a great place for us to be, especially since they're offering it, as a hybrid forum. So if you can't be in Port of Spain for the days, then of course you can get online and participate in that way.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.